Hello and welcome back to Empyrion Galactic Survival. Reforged Eden 1.10. We are in base. I am shifting around a couple of vegetable plots, etc. Swapped out my peppers for tomatoes and putting in some aloe so I can make some healing stuff. And today I'm ready to start working on a combat ship. So I have a number of ships that I have made in creative and play tested on multiplayer that I intend to use. I have four big ones that I've done. I have got a gunship, a Core 9 gunship. This one right here, the Manta. The Manta Mark III. The Mark II didn't really do that well, so I just continued upgrading it to the Mark III, which I will probably be using for a longer period of time than the Manta 1. And then I have the Europa carrier, which I primarily use for mining. It has lots of turret placements for the ice mining and asteroid mining, which, believe it or not, is not too far off in the future. So we'll get there. And then the last one that I have that I just built about a month ago is the Moray XT, which is a higher tier, like 10 aux core, 5 quantum CPU battleship that I designed for taking out Legacy, and it works well. So I'm excited to get to that point and to show it to you. But for right now, I need resources because resources. So I always seem to be low on silica and strangely low on copper, even though every time I'm going out, I'm mining both. But that's electronics. So also, my solar is not working efficiently in the base. And I'm thinking what I will do, because I like the concept of basing planet side, but the reality of basing planet side is that it's a giant pain because you have to deal with weather. I don't mind the enemy raids that come in. I would actually be happy if they were a lot more substantial, like a whole fleet of ships came in, or if there were ground troops that came in. I guess there's a transport ship that'll come in, but they'll only drop out like 4 Xerax troopers, and I want there to be like 60. But anyway, so I need resources, and we're going to be doing some space mining. And I'm also going to do a round of checking on auto miners if I don't forget. I'll probably forget. I'll get distracted by something inevitably. But I'm just going to throw these bits and pieces into... I mined out a couple nodes. Throw these bits and pieces into the furnace and get going. Now, again, I don't have regenerating POIs on, which means I don't have regenerating asteroids. The nice thing about resources planet side is when you mine out the entire node, the marker for the node disappears, and when you mine out enough of the nodes on the planet, meteorites will periodically spawn, and you can go then harvest the meteorites. So planets still have viable resources. Without regenerating POIs, the space asteroids don't respawn, which I'm cool with for most of the asteroids. I would like for the rich mining to respawn, and I think it might regardless. That's something I'll have to test out. But it's on a much longer respawn time. Most regenerating POIs respawn after 6 hours, and I think the rich nodes, etc., respawn after 3 days. So I might need to dig into the files a little bit just to see what's going on with that and how that's set up, if I'm going to turn it on. I really don't want to turn it on, though, because there's just so much of the galaxy to explore. But I don't want to have to fly 800 light years to go mine rich nodes, you know, because I mined them all. But so okay, so I'm getting some resources in dealing with some space drones that are bothering me, and this is a pretty bountiful system as far as the stuff that's here. I would like to put in a number of additional auto miners, like maybe 5 to 10 more planet side, so that I can just stockpile a bunch of raw resources in auto miners and go pick them up as needed for building. There's also, later on, once I start salvaging ships, I'll be able to put all of those components and everything into the factory. There is a blueprint for a big factory dump, which is nice because it allows you to store all those goods in a pocket dimension that doesn't actually exist. Once you put them in there, you can't retrieve them. Just keep that in mind. So while out searching in one of the neighboring planets, I found a bunch of Warlord faction, and I found a Warlord faction ship that I'd never seen before. And I'm not super interested in fighting it, but I do want to see what it's capable of. But ultimately, my need for silicon is going to take precedence over my own personal safety, because I need silicon. So I think I'll be able to keep enough of a distance. I don't think that the interceptors, etc., are really going to be that much of a problem. And I don't think the Warlord ship is going to come over. And if it does, I can just fly away. Bump. One bit here was there was a warp distress signal that was called, and I've got a bounty that came in. Someone that I can kill for a bounty. I think the UCH by the bounty token, but bounties themselves are something that I'll really show more when we start hunting bandits and raiders. But this guy is a Xerax bounty, and he's in just a little fighter ship. He's a good pilot. He's doing his barrel rolls. But unfortunately, because I only have turrets, I don't have real guns that I can aim. I mean, I could get into the turret, but then I wouldn't be able to fly. Oh. A decoy. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Anyway, I don't have like regular guns that I can just shoot from the toolbar. But I will on future ships. Oh, he's got like a whole squadron. Oh, that's cool. Oh. Oh, it's got. Oh no, it's got positrons. Those aren't positrons. Those are like the alien lasers. The alien lasers that do stupid damage. Well, crap. Well, let me see if I can. I don't know how strong this ship is. I'll see if I can do anything to it while it's distracted, but I can't. I mean, I'm not targeting it specifically. And while that's not doing absurd damage to my shields, I don't think I would like it if. Oh yeah, I don't want it fully focusing on me. Yeah, I'm gonna back off. Back off, Winslow. Well, crap. Most of the enemy ships, like the actual ships, not the little interceptors, they have a much longer range on their weapons than player ships do. Like this guy can target me from 1.5 kilometers away. And my guns, I think, max out at 900 meters. Well, I think that guy's gonna get the bounty. Sadly, I think I have to loot the thing. I have to loot the interceptor to get the bounty token. And that ship, I've been here for like 10 minutes. All the other ships despawned except for the bounty and this warlord ship. And he is just circling the bounty. I can't get close enough without him shooting me, and I only have about 10 seconds before he's really hurting my shields too much. I don't have enough time to like get out and loot. I don't want to risk my ship, so 20 minutes later it despawned. So we're gonna continue on about with our chores and keep getting asteroids. It'd be kind of neat to put a whole asteroid into a furnace. But yeah, it's completely gone. Damn. Okay, well, boo. It's a good idea to get in the habit to make sure that you've got all of your armor bits in one place, and that whenever you're going transitioning from space to ground or space to planet, that you're changing out or checking your armor just to make sure that you've got the appropriate boosters and armor bits. Okay, I got quite a bit of raw ore. And now that time has passed, it should be mostly smelted. And while it was smelting, I found in the neighboring star system, in the K-class star, I found finally a Colonist Scrapyard. And I've marked it. And we're going to go check it out. But I am going to build some ship parts so that I can put ship parts on a scrapped ship. We'll see what we got when we get there. The scrapyards are pretty cool. They're a good way to make money. Once you start attacking the bandits and raiders, you can salvage or you can retrieve their thrusters and weapons. The colonist weapons are great to use, so I always keep them. But the thrusters will sell for a decent price, and the bandits and raiders have bounty tokens that you can turn in at this colonist scrapyard for money and reputation. So it's a good way to get higher rep. Once you're honored with them, everything's 20% cheaper, and you make 20% more by selling. But okay, so the Colonist Scrapyard has a set number of derelict ships that they've got out in their scrapyard that are barely functional. And they've got this little station, and there's usually a lot of sentries around it and a lot of patrolling ships because they are constantly fighting pirates. Now, I have not ever seen pirates come into a scrapyard sector, but I wouldn't want to be here when that happened if I was unprepared or in the wrong ship. But inside, you've got just the simple market setup. You've got a vendor for small ship components, so for small vessel and hover vessels. You've got a vendor for capital vessel and base components. And these are mostly just for selling. And then you've got a vendor for construction pieces. I'll buy leftovers. You then got the scrapper, which this is who you turn the bounty tokens into, which are in a reinforced container inside the bandit and raider ships. And he's got some dialogue that will show you what you need to use the scrapper license. And that can be bought from this guy, the scrapyard dealer. And the salvage license is 50,000 ish. And he is also coincidentally selling bolters and missile turrets. So I'm going to just buy these so I can use them later because they're great. And then I'm going to buy a salvage license. And I want a poster, but they buy posters for a decent amount. So I think you get posters from turning in bounties as well. So just a little bit extra money. And the ships that we've got, I want to make sure that these get secured in here. I don't want to lose any of them. There's times where if you disconnect, which it's less of an issue in single player, but if you disconnect in multiplayer with your toolbar connected to a container, it can delete what's on your toolbar. So, but it looks like we've got a Polaris. This is a freighter. It's a light freighter. These can be converted into mining ships because they have some storage. And when you buy them, those two big containers that are there have stuff, I think, weapons. I think artillery turrets and lasers. Or mining lasers. Got another Polaris ship. And looks like some sort of cargo freighter. I believe those have crop plots inside. Looks like a small fighter type ship. These are all capital vessels, but it looks blown out. Another freighter, a Xerax Sunat class corvette, and then another cargo freighter. So I think we're gonna go for the Sunat because these are pretty decent in combat. Okay, and then what you do is you just have to have the license in your inventory. Now, without a license and without popping the core, do not attempt to salvage or damage any blocks or open up any containers, because that is considered opening an opposing faction container and you will immediately go to unfriendly. And all of these ships here will open fire on you. And I can tell you, the heavy sentries at this point and the militia corvettes and the Attenborough that is around the station will blow me to bits. But that's the area where the core normally is in these ships, by the way, if you're curious. But overall, the ship looks like it is in decent condition. It needs some work. It's missing most of its nacelles. And here's the salvage core. So it's got this whole apparatus here. These are explosive blocks that are painted. And he said there's a switch. And there's a switch. Okay. So with the license in your inventory, pull the switch. And it blows them all up. And now it is an unclaimed ship. And you can put your own core in. You can put a regular core or salvage core in it. And it goes in that little cubby. Yeah, I'll just remove the window. I can build a window and put it back. Okay, that goes in there. And then... oh, it's already got CPU. Oh, it already had improved extenders. Well, that's good. That means I can save the ones I brought for a different project. It needs a generator and it needs all this stuff. So I've got a generator, I've got thrusters, I've got fuel tank, I got a warp drive, a shield generator, and a pentaxid tank. And a CPU extender, the basic extender. So this one just had the improved, but I'm just going to get the components put on it and fly it home so I can work on it at base. Now this ship is mostly hardened steel with a lot of steel. It's really heavy for the thruster class that it has, for the amount of thrust that it can generate. The problem with a lot of these enemy faction ships is they are very heavily armored, but they don't obey the same laws of physics that we have to with our ships. This ship could have one thruster going in one direction and it would still be able to fly as delicately as any player-made ship, because it doesn't have to obey the same rules. But I've docked my warp tube onto it, and wow, it really is taxing the generator. But I haven't even turned the shield on yet. So I'm here at home, and I just had a thought about how I don't have enough thrust to keep it from crashing into the ground, because I'm in orbit and my available thrust is already in the negative. So I have to swap around and rotate one of my advanced thrusters. Now, I like the idea of using this ship, but one nice thing about having a combat ship is having easy access to the exterior and in space. And this does not have easy access out. So I'll either put in some sort of... Oh, I need to turn off the shield. I'll either put in an easy, like a doorway out on the back of the ship. Or maybe I won't use the ship at all. Maybe this is just a fun experiment to see if I can rebuild it. I'm going to have to tear out the alien blocks anyway. The front of the ship has alien blocks instead of Xeno, and those are air quote forbidden blocks. So I wouldn't be able to blueprint it. And I don't know if those will save to template because they're forbidden blocks. But we'll have to do some experimenting with it. But it flies okay. I mean, it's slow, but most of that is because of the weight, and also because I have a ship docked on its face. So the Xerax ships are kind of neat to fly around in, though, because the orientation of the ships is, from what I think, is reversed to what, like, mostly you would get from ships, where you have got like big nacelles on the back, and then you've got a narrow combat front. But in this, you've got a wide front, and then you've got all of the nacelles and everything in front, and then you've got the bridge, combat bridge, in the back. A couple of the pirate ships are like that too. Maybe I can just use this to harass planet side stuff. But made it here. I didn't encounter anything. And then I'm just going to have to start working on repairing it and putting components back in it and see if I want to actually use it. If not, I can then just dismantle it all. So one annoying thing about a lot of the alien ships and a lot of the crafted ships that you see is they're just full of consoles. You don't need that many consoles in your ship. You don't need to fill every corner with a blinking console. Anyway, so, okay. I'm going to have to look up what the full Sunat ship looks like so that I can start building out blocks. And I might tear out a lot of the interior because there's like crew space that's not needed. And I could probably fill it with cargo or more important things than crew beds. Big hole in the roof here. I took out all the boxes, and there are 3 or 4 alien loot containers in here. One of them being very rare, which the very rare containers can have some pretty great stuff in it. So, yeah. It's my new ship. Can't do anything right now. It has a lot of spots for turret placements, and I can put a couple artillery cannons on it in the front after I rip out the alien blocks. But that is a project for future Winslow. And I'm going to wrap this up here. I just want to thank you again for watching and supporting the channel, and for liking and commenting. And next time, we'll see what we can do with this. I'm pretty excited. See you then.